Welcome to Module 5 of our Pulmonary Equations in a Nutshell series. And today we're going to talk about the Fick equation and how it's used to measure cardiac output. So the Fick principle is really quite simple. It's just a simple matter of conservation of mass. And what we see, or what the Fick principle said, is the rate at which oxygen flows into an organ minus the rate it gets taken out of the blood to be used up and burned by that organ is going to be equal to the rate at which unused oxygen flows out of the organ. And you can sort of write this as an equation where the content in the arterial blood times the blood flow into the organ minus the oxygen consumed by the organ is going to equal to the venous content times the rate at which blood flows out of the organ. With a little simple algebraic manipulation, you can write an equation for the oxygen consumption of the organ as the arterial-venous oxygen content difference times the flow through the organ. And you can do this for any given organ. And the main thing that will be unique to each organ, since all organs will share the arterial oxygen content, is the venous oxygen content of that organ. So how does the Fick principle apply to measuring cardiac output? And this is what brings us back to the pulmonary circulation. And what you realize is that unlike other circulations, the pulmonary circulation or pulmonary blood flow is the cardiac output. So the pulmonary circulation receives 5 liters a minute. And the other thing that you have to realize is that the venous blood coming into the pulmonary circulation represents a mixture of the venous bloods from the various systemic circulations that use different amounts of oxygen, so that rather than using an individual venous oxygen content, we use the mixed venous oxygen content, which is the average of all the systemic organs for this. And so we say that the the oxygen coming into the pulmonary circulation is venous content times flow, or cardiac output, plus the oxygen that gets added by being taken up by the lung. And so that the oxygen coming out, the arterial oxygen content times the cardiac output, is going to be equal to the sum of these previous two things. And again, we write this simple equation down here, and with some simple rearrangement, we can see that cardiac output, therefore, is going to be equal to the oxygen consumption of the body, which you can measure independently by the uptake of oxygen in the lungs, divided by the arterial-venous difference. And that's the Fick equation and cardiac output measurement in a nutshell. Thanks for watching.